Baby, I just had the worst dream that we got divorced. Baby?
I know. The Academy is going to be calling any day now. Hi, I'm Emily Brostaff, and if you're new here, I am almost 30 years old and chasing a YouTube career. I promised in my last video that I would talk about my separation, my divorce, mostly because I'm tired of answering everyone's DMs about it. I feel like because my ex and I only told our really close family and friends what was going on, a lot of people that are still important to us are confused as to what happened. And so instead of talking to them and being sad about it and answering a million questions, I figured why not make a video that I would post publicly for anyone to see. So what happened? If I were to boil it down to one word, that word would be change. Change is what happened. It was around October 2020 when things really started stirring up. I began expressing to my wife at the time about how my dreams for the future had changed. I was suddenly dreaming about leaving America and moving to Europe. I was suddenly dreaming about ditching our baby plans and no longer having biological children and instead adopting. Basically, I came to her almost out of nowhere, I would say, and told her that I wanted to throw away our 6-year-long plans and do something new. And when she hesitated after I told her about these new dreams of mine, I was confused. In my mind, as long as she was with me, why did it matter what the plans were? As long as we were together, as long as we were both happy, why did it matter where we lived? Why did it matter how we had children? Why did change matter? If our relationship is so great, why would this change cause a hesitation for her? If only I could keep that same energy when she did the same to me. Now, I was a bit hypocritical because as soon as I was done expressing my changed dreams for the future, she came back and said, "That's great, my plans have changed too." And this threw me for a loop. So I'm going to rewind a little bit so that this next part makes a little more sense. I'm going to give you some context. So when my ex and I first met, she was going to graduate school in Northern Virginia, and I was going to get my bachelor's at a different college an hour south. And we met on Tinder. Go ahead and make fun of it. And once things started getting serious and we realized that we were very committed in this relationship and we could picture our lives with each other, after our third date. That's a joke. That's a lesbian joke. Please laugh. I'm just kidding. After a few months in, we sat down and had a very serious conversation about what our future would look like because I was originally from Virginia, always planned to stay in Virginia. I wanted to be near my family and friends so that when I eventually had kids, I would have a support system and be around people that I loved and I knew could help me if I needed it. And she was originally from California. So she was born in San Francisco, and the only reason she was in Virginia was for grad school. What were we gonna do? Because she wanted to move back to the West Coast, I wanted to stay on the East Coast, and we ended up coming to the compromise that if I followed her around during grad school, because a lot of grad school you have to move to different states or different areas to do these different parts of the program, we made the decision if I did that for her, made that sacrifice for her, that we would settle down in Virginia near my family and friends. So anyway, back to the original moment where we both said that we had changed plans for the future. And so when we were having this conversation and I basically said, I want to move to Europe. I also don't want to have babies anymore. I want to adopt older children. She said, okay, Gucci, I also have different dreams now. And she said, now that we've been on the West Coast for almost 2 years, I don't know if I can move back to the East Coast. We were at a standstill. I was already asking a lot of her to move back to Virginia and settle down there with me, but then to ask her to move continents, it was a bit much. And dropping the baby bomb on her wasn't fair either. For me to tell her I no longer wanted babies, which we had been talking about for 6 years, and instead wanted to adopt older children, which has its own difficulties wrapped around that. That was also an unfair ask of me. It could have been a discussion. I could have said, hey, let's think about this. Let's talk about the pros and cons. But instead I said, I have absolutely 100% made up my mind. I do not want to have babies. I want to adopt 5 and up. And so that was like a bomb for her, and that was unfair. And then for her to come to me and say, hey, I no longer think I can live on the West Coast. I don't think that I'll be happy out there. I miss my family and friends too much. That was unfair because our plan had been to live in Virginia for the past 6 years. We had both just dropped these huge pieces of information on each other and didn't know how to react to the other person. And of course, we wanted the other person to have their dreams and to be happy and get exactly what they want. But we also realized at the same time, without saying it, that meant we could no longer be together. Like, of course, when we were expressing these changes, we were expecting the other person to be on board and to come along with us. Like, I wasn't just saying to her, like, hey, I want to move to Europe, and I guess that means you're not coming. Like, I was saying, hey, I want to move to Europe. Please, please, please be okay with this and come with me. And I was saying, hey, I don't want to have babies anymore. Please, please, please be okay with this and stay with me. And it sucked. We both wanted the other person to be happy. We both wanted what we wanted, and we both wanted to stay in the relationship, and we could not have all three. What were we supposed to do? I'll tell you what we did. Thankfully, my ex-wife has her PhD in clinical psychology, so she always has the right answer. And we both talked and decided to give each other time to explore. We gave each other time to reflect and be selfish and ask ourselves questions like, what can I live without? Questions like, what would make us happiest? And when we closed our eyes and pictured ourselves 5 years into the future, what did that look like? And when we came back together to discuss, it was devastating. We realized we had to choose. We could either have our perfect dream lives or we could stay married. And of course, we didn't give up that easily. It was an agonizing few months doing everything we could to try and figure out how to fix this. We were in couples counseling. We were in individual counseling. We were talking with our friends and family. We were giving each other space. We were spending more time with each other. I mean, anything you can think of, we tried it. We spent night after night holding each other and sobbing and trying to comfort the other person and trying desperately to figure out a way that we could make it work. We fought hard, but in the end, we had to make a choice. It was either our own happiness or staying in the relationship, and we chose to be selfish. And the hardest part about all of this is the entire time we were still so deeply in love with the other person. I wanted to hate her for changing her mind, and I wanted to hate her for not jumping on the Emily train and being okay with our new future plans. I wanted to hate her for not bending and for not choosing me. I wanted to storm off and never think of her again because that would have been so much easier than going through what we went through. But instead, this whole situation made me love her even more. We supported each other and listened to each other and validated and gave the other person space to express their emotions. It was one of the most painful things I've ever had to go through. And yet, at the same time, we both recognized that it was the right decision. I think for us in our situation, if someone had cheated or someone had done something horrific, for us personally, it would have been easier than saying, ew, saying goodbye to someone that you still love. And despite still being friends, it hurts. I mourn for the future that I had planned out with her. I mourn for children that I pictured us raising together that we'll never get to. I hurt knowing that people in my life are going to think that I'm just being over dramatic and it's not that big of a deal. I'm hurt knowing that I'm going to be alone for a while because that really scares me. I especially hurt knowing that those promises that we made to each other were not kept. I hurt. I'm going to try and stop crying. It just sucks because there's absolutely nothing anyone can do for me. I just need time to heal. I need therapy. I need to give myself the grace to forgive myself and allow myself the time that it takes to recover from something like this. For right now, I'm just sad, and that's okay. Anyway. Now, for those people that we told in the beginning who have kind of known all along what's been going on, we've been getting a very similar question over and over again. And that is, how are you two so okay with what's going on? And how are you not furious with the other person for changing their mind? My therapist back in California said something that completely changed the way I was thinking about things. She said, no one owes you the promise of never changing. And this concept took me a really long time to wrap my head around, but it's true. You can't expect your friend or parent or partner to stay frozen in time, to never change their behavior or their thoughts or their dreams for the future, because it's just not realistic. I'm kind of grasping onto that concept, and when I get extra sad or angry or disappointed with where my life is at, I use that and I remind myself that it's okay that she changed her mind. It's okay that I changed mine. It's okay that we're different people and want different things. It doesn't make what happened any less difficult, but it does bring me some peace every now and then. As for what's happening right now, we are still best friends and we text every day and FaceTime sometimes to watch shows together. And I send her updates of our dog Daisy, but we have no intentions of getting back together. I know this type of friendship between two divorcees seems weird and maybe unhealthy, and maybe you don't understand it, but that's okay. It has nothing to do with you, and you don't have to understand it or support it, but it's what makes us happy right now. And that's really all that matters. It's helping us get through this and helps us feel like we have a support system. We're just gonna continue being friends. So where are we now? She's currently living back in San Francisco with her friends and family, and I'm currently living in Virginia with my cousin Emma and her husband Emerson. I know it's weird. It's Emily, Emma, Emerson. Strange. And their two kids, Gray and Lennon. It has been a dream living here because I'm obsessed with the children and I get to see and play with them whenever I want. I'm living with my two best friends. Daisy gets the backyard that she's always deserved. And if you're wondering why I got Daisy in the divorce and not my ex, it's because I actually had Daisy 2 years before I met her. And so technically she's my dog. But obviously I'm trying to save my money and find my own place. And I don't have any idea what I'm going to be doing or where I'm going to be in a few months or even tomorrow. I'm just taking things day by day to stay sane, but I will bring you along for the ride. That's it for today's video. I'm going to stop talking. I hope you liked it, and if you didn't, please don't tell me because I cannot handle that kind of negativity right now. I'm going to try and post every week. I'm not sure what day yet, but once I figure it out, I'll tell you on Instagram or on here. I don't know. Okay, stick around, subscribe, smash that like button. Did I wink or did I blink? We'll never know. Okay, please be nice to me or else I'll cry. Okay, bye!